Hey guys, Dion Thompson here. Oh boy, that's light. 3:45 in the morning. Let's do this. I just wanted to make my little video. So I made a video about me coming out as transgendered, and let me just tell you, I'm very ashamed with the transgender community. They did not accept me for who I am, and I am ticked off. I was not embraced. But I mean, after my horrific and detailed description of how I would self-perform my own surgery, because I'm a self-prescribed surgeon, because that just makes sense. I'm also trans race. I'm trans aged. I'm trans fat too. I need to grow fat, and I'm also trans political, whatever the hell that means, because I identify as everything that I'm not. So I'm trans everything. Uh, uh, I identify as a 65-year-old young female. I mean, it's like what? But after my very vivid, detailed description of how I perform my own surgery, I was not accepted into the transgender community. Like, I don't get it. These people are so accepting and inclusive. They did not accept me into the transgender community, and I'm very ticked off. And, I mean, is it because I'm, I don't know, Republican? Dare I say that, right? So, yeah. So now I'm trans, I'm reverse transing myself, whatever that means. I'm reverse transing myself. I'm going back to I got to get my, you know, sewing kit to, with my I told you the last time I think that I would hang my dick on a necklace that I chopped off. Well, this time I have to dig up my dead grandmother's sewing kit, and she's not really dead. She's trans alive. So yeah, I have to call her from the grave. Grandmother, get the sewing kit, and my little shrunken dick. Like those mummified remains with like the shrunken head. But shrunken penis. But this time I have to sew it back on. I'm a self-prescribed best sewing person thing in the world. Believe me. And let me just tell you that I would sew that thing back on like you've never seen. At that point, literally. But I got to make sure I got to get the right color. Do you have black? Because if you have black, that would be great. If not, I'll take purple, because it's UW, and I would just slowly sew that bad boy back on there, and then I don't know how the rest would work, but I would have to just loop de loop and pull like the SpongeBob song, loop de loop and pull, just to trans back my transgender. I'm taking away. I'm transgendering my transgender card of transgender or trans labels. I'm reverse. I'm taking. I'm taking away my transgender card. My by reversing my age from 600 back to what am I, 23. I almost forgot my real age. I'm reverse transing myself from having a shrunken penis on my neck as a souvenir, and I'm sewing it back on there with black string and a sewing kit, because reasons. And obviously for this in this particular case, 1+1 = triggered, which obviously with the liberals they just don't understand what this is. And I gotta I gotta it's painful because I don't give myself anesthetics. So when I do my reverse surgery, I have to, you know, bite my finger while as I'm sewing that guy back on there. And I think I might have screwed up by sewing it on backwards and inside me somehow. And I don't know how it worked, but when I get aroused, oh boy, will it hurt my insides a little bit. Or I will have the best orgasm ever, guys. I mean, I think I did something wrong there, but right place at the wrong time, right? So after I sew that back on, I'm going to go back to the Republican Party and say, I was wrong, dude. You know, and then the Republican Party is going to be like, so? So what? You do what you do, man. You do what you do, man. That's how they talk, obviously. So I just want to let you know I'm reverse transing myself from the transgender community, which is ridiculously stupid, and and cause reasons. I don't need to tell you my reasons. I just need to get famous for being transgender. I'm transgendering my transgender card so I can become double famous for again reasons. You know, just like Caitlyn and Bruce, or when Bruce Jenner died and Caitlyn Jenner rose to power, or was inherited Bruce's body, or more like Bruce Jenner died and the spirit of some woman took over his body and and uh, and called himself Caitlyn. So okay, now I'm off script. So obviously, come on, this whole thing is a joke. So I just wanted to point out how ridiculous sounding the transgender community really is. Now, a lot of people call me transphobic, like on these dating apps, on the when I'm doing film, when Jer Bear calls me transphobic, Antifa calls me transphobic, and this and this and this and this and that, and then oh yeah, I even have former friends that call me transphobic because I disagree with putting in gender pronouns as a requirement to University of Washington applications or certain types of applications, which is something I disagree with. Even when I was a liberal, I disagreed with this. But that does not mean I do not support trans people on an individualistic basis. So here's a really good example. Doug Stanhope actually talks about this, and I reference Doug Stanhope a lot. But Doug Stanhope does a really good bit about this. He goes, I support the troops on an individualistic basis. If that guy's a jerk, then screw him. Why should I have respect for that guy? And he's kind of right. Now then, of course, he said, I hope he died first, you know. but aside from that point, it's for me, it's the same kind of feeling with the transgender community, because on an individualistic basis, I could probably have a beer with them and I'd be like, cool, you know, cool, man, you know. But as the whole movement is just like, whoa, like it's too much. And I really strongly feel that it's too much because they're trying to force that down people's throats. They're trying to they're teaching that to kids that don't even know what gender they are by the time they're 5. I mean, for the love of God. You know, some of them are standing while peeing. Some of them are also standing while peeing, but without something dangling between their legs. Gee, I wonder why. And of course these parents are like, well, it's okay to change genders. Well, every kid, every freaking boy in the world wants to dress up like a girl at some point as a goof. Like they're literally experimenting with their own bodies, and then the parents rightfully say, "Hey, don't do that. Like you're a boy, you're not supposed to be wearing a dress, or you're not supposed to be thinking about wearing a dress." That should be at a young age. After 18, I don't really care. I just do not I do not agree with the the transgender community trying to tell parents to tell their kids to be transgender. That is not good. And the transgender community is really small but really powerful, and I think it's gotten way too far. Uh, Now, of course, um, people are gonna go, well, what about hermaphrodites? It's like, well, okay, come on. Like, hermaphrodites happen less than oh boy, I can't remember the statistic, but I read this years ago, and it was super low. It was like less than 0.1% or something like that, where you're born with both male and female genitalia. Uh, those people, I can't imagine living life like that. Imagine taking some guy or some girl back to your bedroom and you're a hermaphrodite. Like you have boobs, but you also have a penis. I don't know, man. That would be kind of interesting to live through like that. But those, I mean, the life sucks for them. But they're less than 1% of the population on Earth. That's for sure. So that doesn't mean that we as a society across the entire planet should conform to that less than 1/10 of 1% of people that are born with both male and female genitalia. Should they be given a space to collaborate with each other, and to try to raise awareness for these people? It's like, hey, these people have certain medical conditions. Let's raise some money for that and that only, and not teach kids, hey, it's okay to have both male and female genitalia if you want them. So yeah. Again, I support people on an individualistic basis, and that goes with I just talked about hermaphrodites. That's a whole different story. But transgender people, I actually work with a few transgender people. Not once have I been like, screw you because you're trans. Not once. In fact, uh, I'm pretty sure one of them knows I'm a Republican, and a very hardcore Republican as well. But they don't really care. They're just like, I disagree with Trump. There's some things I agree, some things I don't. And some of these trans people say that. And transgender people are always labeled as, oh, they need to hate Donald Trump because of him, homophobic comments, or things that people have said that have been taken out of context, and all this nasty stuff. So I feel real bad for transgender people, but at the same time, they should not push their ideologies down people's throats that aren't there, that can't give consent properly. It's a really bad idea. Dr. Jordan Peterson talks a lot about this too. If you haven't seen his videos, go watch his. He does a far more in-depth response to it. But yeah, again, if I saw if and there are actually transgender people with MAGA hats on, and they actually completely agree with me. Now they do believe that they should be included in the gay pride thing, but that's nothing really the president can do himself. It's more on the lines of, what can the organization do that's backing that pride event help. So yeah. Anyways, this has been a really great video. I've been thinking about how I was gonna say the first half of of this video because I just wanted it to be funny, and just to point out like kind of the hypocrisies of the left and and yeah. So anyways, you can I almost kind of fell asleep there, believe it or not. So this is the Dose of Dion on YouTube. You can also find me on Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram on The Real Dose of Dion. But on Facebook, I got banned for 3 days. So speaking of transgender community, I actually made a post about the transgender community. And I said, kind of a long story short, I accept them as individuals, but I do not agree with their ideology. So I'm sitting here and I made this video, and Kyle, if you're watching this, you commented by saying it's a mental disorder, and it is objectively a mental disorder. Why? Because there's this chemical, I can never pronounce the actual chemical right. Even if I have the name like right in front of me, I just can't pronounce it. So I'm just not even going to say the word. But there's this chemical in your brain that is that if properly balanced, then you would never feel the need to say, I feel like I'm in a woman's body or a man's body. There would be no need for that, right? And I don't think there should be any need for that. However, and by the way, it's an objective fact. I think I just said something totally out of the blue there. I'm so tired. So if I don't make sense there for a second, just forgive me. But Kyle made a comment saying it's a mental disorder because that chemical has a if it's imbalanced, then if it's imbalanced in one way or another, you'll feel like you're in the opposite sex's body for whatever weird reason that is. I'm not a scientist, so I can't really tell you a whole lot about why or how or when, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of one of the things I also wanted to bring up, and thank you for reminding me, because freaking someone told me like about 2 hours ago. It's like, you should make a video about the whole racist against Trump or Trump against gay pride or whatever it was. So we followed them down and tried to get interviews and stuff. So anyways, this is the Dose of Neon on YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, and Facebook. Again, Facebook's banned for a temporary 3-day ban. So yeah, anyways, hope you're all doing well, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.